Welcome into the picks presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, your guide to the Texas high school football playoffs. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in and happy Thanksgiving. Oh, we made it. Around these parts, Thanksgiving is the very best day of the year because it's all about family, it's all about food, it's all about football. This is an exciting time to be a Texas high school football fan because we are into the regional semifinals, the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 and 6 man of the Texas high school football playoffs. And the games are getting more intense and we are getting to the good stuff. Every team that's playing this week is a contender, plain and simple. There are no turkeys left after Thanksgiving. There are 88 games scattered across the state. We will predict every single one of them. I will either mention it out loud or it will be scrolling on this side of the screen. We start in Tomball. 7 o'clock Friday night at Tomball ISD Stadium. It is a 3A Division I regional semifinal as the Columbus Cardinals take on the Franklin Lions. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, the slot T. Around here, we are fond of saying that the slot T is the devil, and there are few teams in America that run it like the Franklin Lions. I want you to consider this. Franklin is a team that runs the ball upwards of 80% of their snaps. And yet they lead 3A Division I in scoring offense, 55 points per game. They have been absolutely outrageous with quarterback Walker Anderson triggering the entire attack, running backs like Sawyer Janus and RJ Fulton giving them a bevy of weapons in the backfield. This is an electrifying and dangerous offense. Now, the Columbus defense has been excellent all year long. They have a number of weapons on that defensive side, but the slot T is a unique test. So, can that slot T attack take fold on Friday night? Key number two, Columbus's new stars. So Columbus is the reigning 3A Division I state champs, romping to their first state championship a year ago. But we had questions entering the season about how they were going to reload offensively. I mean, they lost the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year in Adam Schobel, a superstar linebacker in John Schobel, a superstar running back in Grayson Rigdon. Well, they have figured things out in a big way, and I've been really impressed with their so-called replacements because they have been exceptional. Jack Schobel is the new quarterback for Columbus. He has been locked in, especially during this playoff run. They've given an enhanced role to Braylon Fisher, a guy who can do a little bit of everything on both sides of the ball. This offense is starting to hum. Now, the Franklin defense has been excellent all year long, but last week against Orangefield, they got touched up for the first time in quite a while. Is that a sign of things to come? Because this Columbus offense is ready to roll. So, will the new guys on the Cardinals step up? And key number three, prize fight. We talked about how we're into the regional semifinals of the Texas high school football playoffs, and every team is a contender. Nowhere is that more true than in this matchup here in 3A Division I. These two teams have been in every state championship game in this decade. Yeah, and they've won 3 of them. These are 2 of the programs of record in 3A Division I. And when they've gone head-to-head, right now, it's a split decision. Franklin beat Columbus in 2022. Columbus beat Franklin in 2024. So it stands at 1-1. Here is your rubber match. And looking broadly across 3A Division I, you could reasonably say that the winner of this game is the favorite to win the 3A Division I state championship. Those are the stakes, but with those stakes comes pressure. And with that pressure comes the ability for people to become legends. So, with all eyes on Tomball on Friday night, who will stand tall? Who am I picking? I'm going with Franklin. The Lions get the nod here because, quite frankly, this rushing attack has been outrageous against literally everyone, including Salina, the number 1 team in 4A Division I. Now, that is your money matchup here. The Columbus defense, which has been excellent, going up against this unstoppable Franklin rushing attack. Can Columbus diagnose and slow down the slot T? Can Franklin run wild? The other side is interesting too because we don't really know what the Orangefield game last week kind of portends for this Franklin defense. Was that a one-time thing? Is it a sign of things to come? We will find out in this one. In the end, I like the slot T attack to lead the way. Give me Franklin to move on to the regional final. 7 o'clock Friday night at Choctaw Stadium in Arlington. It is a 6A Division II regional semifinal as the Southlake Carroll Dragons take on the Prosper Eagles. And ever since Prosper got slotted into the 6A Division II bracket, this has been a game we've had circled. We've been waiting for these two teams to match up, and it has finally arrived. You know, for Southlake Carroll, the wire-to-wire #1 team in Class 6A, kind of the first time in 2 months we're talking about them, right? Because they've just been blowing past people and a lot better than a lot of their opponents. And they have looked the part of the best team in Class 6A. Quarterback Angelo Renda has been terrific. Wide receiver Brock Boyd is box office. They are starting to run the ball really well with Davis Penn. This team looks complete, plain and simple. Prosper looks complete too, and I think probably not as good as you may realize. Quarterback Braden Imhoff has been absolutely outrageous, and he and running back Bryce Robinson operate behind maybe the best offensive line in Texas, led by Zayden Crimpin. They have got at least 3 FBS signees on that offensive line. They are for real. So that's going to be a fun matchup to watch. That Southlake Carroll defensive front up against the Prosper offensive line. Both these teams can score. So it comes down to defense, and that is where I think Southlake Carroll may have the slight edge. I think their defense, led by Robbie Ladd, leads the way to a win. Give me the Dragons. 1 o'clock Friday afternoon at Comalander Stadium in San Antonio. It's a 5A Division II regional semifinal as the Gregory-Portland Wildcats take on the Boerne Greyhounds. Hey, remember when we were ready to bury Boerne? Remember when we thought, well, they're taking a step back. Remember, they lost their coach and their quarterback late in the offseason, and then they lost their opener, San Antonio Piper. We're like, okay, well, that's it for the Greyhounds. Well, all they've done is rattle off 11 straight wins, and quarterback Grant Sweeney, my goodness, the junior has been terrific. A 3,300-yard passer, 44 total touchdowns on the year. He has got 3 receivers with more than 700 yards on the year, led by Zachary Frazier. This offense is absolutely humming. Well, speaking of offenses that are humming, let's talk about Gregory-Portland, who has been absolutely electrifying. And that 1-2 punch of quarterback Carter Dominguez and running back Cody Adame is dangerous. They have combined for 68 total touchdowns on the year. So both these teams can score. Who makes a stop? That's the real question in this one. That's where I think Gregory-Portland might have a slight edge. Give me the Wildcats. 2:30 p.m. Friday afternoon at McKinney ISD Stadium. It's a 4A Division II regional semifinals. The Carthage Bulldogs take on the Pleasant Grove Hawks, and it is the game of the year in Class 4A Division II. It is preseason #1 versus #2. It is end of season #1 versus #2. It is an East Texas rivalry, and it is the premier good-on-good matchup in the state, because you have the Carthage offense led by KJ Edwards and Jet Surratt and Benny Smith, and that electrifying attack going up against the Pleasant Grove defense, one of the most suffocating units in Texas high school football, led by Jamarian Richardson and Keydred Smith. They have got dudes on both sides of the ball. They're going to go at it, and that is going to determine the fate of what 4A Division II looks like the rest of the way. This is a massive, massive game. Here's the thing. Historically, Carthage has owned this matchup. They are 8-0 all time against the Hawks, including knocking Pleasant Grove out of the playoffs in each of the last 3 seasons. It is hard to pick against that kind of history. I like Carthage to move on to the regional finals. 7 o'clock Friday night at Sandcrab Stadium in Port Lavaca. It's a 2A Division I regional semifinal as the Ganado Indians take on the Refugio Bobcats. And all of those things that I said about Carthage and Pleasant Grove, you can kind of port over to this game, because this is the game of the year in 2A Division I. It is preseason #1 versus #2. It is end of season #1 versus #2. And it's 2 teams that have a history against one another. Remember, Ganado's remarkable run has kind of started with an upset win over Refugio in the 2023 regional final. That's what kind of sparked their run to a state championship in 2024. And I think Ganado has done a terrific job reloading on the fly. You know, their new quarterback, Landon Arriaga, has been absolutely terrific. 51 total touchdowns on the year. And Luke Burris, their running back, what a warrior, averaging nearly 10 yards per carry. I can tell you this for a fact. Refugio is tired of hearing about Ganado. They are tired of hearing about them, and they have every reason to believe that they can knock off the defending state champs with the 1-2 punch of Xander Wills and Ray Lewis in the backfield. Their offense has been absolutely electric this year. So when you take a look at this matchup, it's hard to split these two teams. And in a lot of ways, a lot of the numbers point to Refugio. They have the better scoring offense. They have the better scoring defense. They're the undefeated team. They're the #1 team. I just think Ganado might have their number. I think this might be one of those matchups that's just hard to explain, but one team just gets the other team. I think that's what we have here. I think Ganado moves on to the regional final. And 6 o'clock Friday night at Tornado Stadium in Lamesa, it is a 1A Division I regional final as the Whiteface Antelopes take on the Rankin Red Devils. And remember, fewer teams in the 6-man brackets, which means we get to the good stuff earlier, including punching tickets to the state semifinals this week in the regional finals. The name of the game for Rankin is speed. They are one of the fastest teams in all of Class 1A. Gyro Cruz, their running back, is not only the star of their offense, but also one of the stars of their state champion 400-meter relay team. They are dangerous on the track and on the football field. They're going up against Whiteface, eager to make it back to AT&T Stadium after making a state finalist run a year ago. Isaac Solis and Jackson Hodge lead the way for what has been a high-powered Whiteface attack. So it's hard to actually split these two teams because I think Whiteface has the slight advantage offensively, but I think that Rankin has the slight advantage defensively. So I give Whiteface the champion's advantage. This is the team that won the region a year ago. I ain't picking against that. Give me the Antelopes.
The Picks is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Don't have time to go to a Dick's store this week? Just go to dicks.com.
Yo, these KDs are fire. Bro, you work here?
Whatever, kid. Take notes. Yo, I can go all pro in these.
I can guard you and route you up.
You sure about that?
Not anymore.
You fellas looking for a quarterback?
The goal!
Billy needs cleats. You're right, Billy. These do bring out my eyes.
Every shoe for every athlete, only at Dick's.
Dick's is the GOAT.
But those are far from the only big games in the regional semifinals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Remember, I'm picking every game. I will either mention it out loud or it's scrolling on this side of the screen. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division I, I like Duncanville over Klein Collins, and in one of the matchups of the premier brand names in Texas high school football, I like Allen over Odessa Permian. I think San Antonio Johnson keeps it rolling with a win over Cibolo Steel, and I like Dickinson to get a win over Strake Jesuit. In 6A Division II, I like CE King over KD Jordan. Expect some fireworks in this one. I like Boerne over Willis, and I think Vandergrift keeps rolling with a win over San Marcos. 5A Division I now, give me Highland Park over Frisco, Wakeland, and Aledo takes down Cinderella Story, Arlington Heights. Speaking of Cinderellas, I like Pflugerville Weiss over Barbers Hill, and defending state champs Smithson Valley gets a win over Piper. 5A Division II now, I like Argyle over Prosper Walnut Grove. Give me Iowa Colony over Brenham, and South Oak Cliff gets a win over undefeated Terrell. In 4A Division I, I like Kilgore over Bridge City, and in one can only be described as one of the biggest games in Canyon ISD history, I like West Plains over Canyon High. Give me Salina to get a win over Decatur, and I like Lavernia over Corpus Christi Cal Allen. 4A Division II now, I think Cuero avenges a regular season loss to Rockport Fulton. Give me Sealy to take down West Orange Stark, and Midland Greenwood stays perfect with a win over Graham. 3A Division I now, I think Grandview stays hot with a win over Commerce. I like Peaster over Vernon. You know what? Sometimes a Cinderella story is too good to pass up. I'm hopping on the Ingram Moore bandwagon. I think they knock off Edna. 3A Division II now, it's a rematch of a district game. I like Blue Ridge over Leonard, and one of the most anticipated games in Region 4, I like Tidehaven over Blanco. I like Idalou to upend Canadian, and a huge game in Southeast Texas. I like Newton over Troop. 2A Division I now, I like Stinnett West Texas over New Home. Give me San Augustine over Beckville, and reigning regional champ Hamilton gets a win over Price Carlisle. 2A Division II now, I like Collinsville over Lindsay, and Stratford takes down Bovina. I like Shiner to keep rolling with a win over Iola, and in another district rematch, I like Bremond over Mart. And it's the regional finals in Class 1A. In 1A Division I, I like Aquila over Union Hill, and in 1A Division II, give me Richland Springs over Oglesby. And those are the picks. I picked all 88 UIL Texas High School Football Regional Semifinal games on this holiday weekend. I either mentioned it out loud or it was scrolling on this side of the screen. So now you can let me know, what am I wrong about? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2025 Texas High School Football Playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the regional semifinals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you.